Hey there, this is Kakarotvg. Welcome back to MinecraftForge tutorial, episode 12. In this episode, we will be getting a bucket to register with our fluid. So first thing that we are going to have to do is create the texture for the bucket. So I've already colored in the fluid. Already colored in the fluid and stuff. So this is my bucket texture. The colors is basically just dark green. I use the colorize tool to change the color. Once I use the selection tool to select the actual liquid part of the bucket. So now I'm Command-Shift E, tutorial mod VG, resources, assets, tutorial mod, textures, items, export, and I can go ahead and close out GIMP. Now let's go into Eclipse, and well, let's just start making the liquid. So first thing we are going to have to do is we need to create the bucket class. Now I'm going to be creating this in the items class, although you can create it anywhere. You can create it with fluids to tell people that it's connected to the fluids. You can create it anywhere, but since it is an item, I'm going to create it in the items category. So tutorial bucket. We are back. Sorry about that. Someone came into my room and I did not like it very much. Anyways, so we need to extend item bucket. So it extends item bucket. Match it to import. Now we need to add in the constructor. And okay. So in the constructor, change par1 to ID, par2 to par1. ID, par1. So now I've changed the constructor, and we need to go with a comma, string. You know what? No, we'll do it a different way for now. It's a different one. Then I had it in here. So hold on. Okay, actually, really, that's just it. You don't need anything else. So at side only side dot client. So we get our icon as normal at override. Public void register icons. Icon register. And go to import. And then this dot item icon equals register dot register icon reference dot mod ID Kakarotvg.com and tutorial.reference plus, and then plus the full colon plus and then this dot get unlocalized name dot substring 5 and add in a semicolon. That's it. That's our bucket class. Pretty simple, huh? Well, you'd think. Unfortunately, we're not done yet. So now we need to create some more new classes. We don't really need that anymore. So, new class. Instead of in items, we're gonna do events. Name. Name. Tutorial. Bucket. Event. First, let's go to liquid handler, and let's create our block. And we also need ID handler. Let's go to ID handler, and we'll create the bucket under liquid IDs. So public static int tutorial bucket ID. Then down here, tutorial bucket ID equals config dot get liquid IDs tutorial bucket and 24,250 dot get it. Anyways, so now back to liquid handler and buckets. So public static item tutorial bucket. And go to import. Make sure to import it and format just to make sure. Now tutorial bucket equals new tutorial bucket ID handler dot tutorial bucket ID comma. Now this comma is extremely important for you to have. So this comma we need to add in liquid handler dot tutorial liquid dot lock ID. Then dot set unlocalized name, and then tutorial bucket. So what this does is it basically uses this to actually place down the liquid. So it will place down the liquid as of right now, but it will not, however, pick it up, which is why we're going to be creating the events. So dot set creative tab, creative tab handler dot t tab. Now I am going to remove this because we don't need it, not anymore anyways. And I'm going to remove this registry dot register item tutorial bucket add a semicolon, tutorial bucket. Now in here, in fluid container registry, in here we need to add a line for our bucket. Now this goes for any bucket you want to make. So we need to do registry dot register fluid container liquid handler dot tutorial fluid comma new item stack liquid handler dot tutorial bucket comma 1 comma new item stack item dot bucket empty. So what this does is it registers our bucket as a fluid container, holding one fluid of tutorial fluid, and this bucket is the tutorial bucket, and the container that it used to be is a bucket empty. So that is that. Now go back to VG tutorial. Now under liquid handlers, liquid handler dot fluid container registry new fluid container registry. Hold on. New fluid container registry. So liquid handler. Why isn't it working? Okay, and since that's not going to work, that's not going to work. I'm going to delete that, go into here, delete what's in there and change this to fluid container registry, which fit in turn fixes that. So now that we have that loaded, we are basically done with common proxy indefinitely now, until I learn more stuff. And then now we can go ahead and exit tutorial fluid, liquid handler, lock tutorial fluid, and tutorial bucket. Now tutorial bucket event. This does not need to extend anything. All you need to do is at forge subscribe public void on bucket fill bucket event You have absolutely no idea how long it took me to figure all this out when I first tried doing it. So it was a couple days ago actually. So item stack result equals fill custom bucket event dot world comma event dot target. Now just auto import. You know, change fill custom bucket to fill bucket. And then if result equals null, sorry about that. If result equals null, return event dot result event dot set result dot allow. And now what's with this? Oh yeah, forgot to add something here. Event dot result equals result. Okay, we have an error here because we still have to call it. So now public item stack fill bucket world moving object position pose now I just have to import. Make sure you import, and then we need to add a return statement. Int block ID equals world dot get block ID pose dot block x pose dot block y pose dot block z. Then if block ID equals ID handler I just realized this may not work, although then again it might. ID handler dot tutorial dot tutorial dot block tutorial fluid ID and world dot get block metadata, and just copy and paste this in there. Z equals 0, and world dot set block, and as usual for par, and as before for par 1, 2, and 3, and then for par 4 you place down 0, then semicolon, then under that return new item stack liquid handler dot tutorial bucket. Then under here else return null. And there we go. That is our event. Now, this is what took me the longest to figure out. Why, even with all this, and this is actually in the bucket class, why it wasn't working. Then I realized I never called the event. Actually, I had help from other people to realize that, but it took so much time. So I did this. So when I finally did it, I did this. And under handlers, you create a new class called event handler. Public static void register events. Oh yeah. Whoa! I saw something creepy. And then I just realized that it was my earphones. So never mind. And event handler. We need to refactor, rename, to something other than event handler, because there's already a class in MinecraftForge called event handler. So tutorial event handler. If you don't name it something other than just an event handler, it's not going to work, because MinecraftForge will try to register the other event handler. I think that's what it did for me last time anyways. So register events, MinecraftForge dot event underscore bus dot register new, then tutorial bucket event. Then import it, format, and now we just need to register the event. So let's register the event under here. So tutorial event handler dot register events, and that should just about do it. So now let's run Minecraft and make sure everything works the way they are supposed to. Okay, it is not registering the tutorial bucket. I do not know why. Trash. The trash. So tutorial modding. Tutorial mod VG. Resources. Assets. Tutorial mod. Textures. Items. Tutorial. That's why. Tutorial bucket. I forgot to rename it. Silly me. It's not really let Minecraft launch, which in my case is going to take me a very long time because my computer is very slow when recording. Like, extremely slow, as you've noticed. Single player, new world. Yes. Continue loading. It doesn't matter. There isn't really any conflicting IDs. As you can see through here. This is really annoying. Yeah, as you can see in here, there is no conflicting ID. So we are actually fine. So now, water bucket, clear our inventory, go into our creative tab, take up our bucket, and let's make sure it places our liquid. And it does place our liquid. This is a very good thing. Now we need an empty bucket, game mode 0, and now let's make sure that when we pick it up, gives us a tutorial bucket again. And as usual, it places our liquid game mode / game mode 1. So our fluid works perfectly now. Anyways, that's it for this tutorial. I will see you guys in the next tutorial with crops and foods. So see you next time.